very warm welcome to you. Thank you for making time for our conversation on Africa. Now, this week on the show, we feature Kenyan business magnate Chris Kirubi. He talks about his journey to success and his thoughts on business opportunities in Africa. He talks about leadership as well. You get to have your say. And of course, as always, we have Africa's Top 10. You're watching the Africa Leadership Dialogues. I'm Julie Gichuru. Chris Kirubi, Kenya's business tycoon, has been described by Forbes magazine as Kenya's most flamboyant billionaire. With interests in real estate, manufacturing, insurance, construction, the media, and much more, Kirubi's estimated net worth is $300 million US. Among the companies he holds significant interests in are private equity firm Centum Investments, Capital FM radio station, and manufacturing company Hako Tiger Industries. Let's get straight to Kirubi's thoughts on Africa, business, opportunity, and leadership. As an African businessman and from East Africa, where we saw just a few years back the severe drought in the Horn of Africa, one of the big problems we have is we're so busy focusing just on looking for food and water at very many community levels. This struggle is just for the daily survival. What business opportunity is there for people who go into agribusiness right now? And why aren't we seeing enough Africans investing in agribusiness?
The world is going to be fighting sooner or later for water and for shortage of food. Africa has so much land which has not been developed, which requires mechanization, which requires better new methods of farming. And therefore, here you have plenty of potential to grow food, to take care of the food security. And the water, we have a lot of water, but it's all wasted, it's not harnessed, it's not conserved. I believe what we lack in Africa in a big way is management, vision, management, and maybe cash to invest in some of these things. So what we need is the big corporations, the World Bank, IMF, and many other institutions to see Africa as where they should be spending a lot of their money in order to turn Africa to be one of the contributors to the rest of the world. I think Africa could save Europe today if people invested in Africa.
Let's step away from the big organizations, the loans and the grants, and look at the perspective of a young African who wants to make a difference, who's looking to earn a living for his family, and he's wondering, where do I start? What would you advise him or her that they need?
I think every young Kenyans and other young people from other parts of Africa, what they need is quality education. They also need to identify very early on their area of interest. And then they need to look at themselves as job creators. The challenges we have, we need banks which are going to finance good ideas from these entrepreneurs. After all, the Silicon Valley of America was created by young people who had the dreams and capability of technology. In Africa, I think technology is going to play a major role. And this is an area where young people can easily adapt and get involved. So for Africa to change the way they do things, I think we need to embrace technology. And once you embrace technology, the older generation gets out of line, and it is the young people who will take over Africa. So I would appeal to young people to arm themselves with a lot of knowledge, get to understand the area of interest, and seriously ask the funders, the governments, the private sector to work with these young people, to support them so that they can have an opportunity to be job creators.
You've talked about technology. I mean, you know, Africa is embracing technology perhaps more than many other regions in the world. You, as a businessman, also invest a lot of time and energy, I understand, in technology. A huge asset right now to Africa. What are the most exciting areas right now in terms of technology for you?
Well, my area of involvement and the area I think will be very, very, very strong and will play a major role is in the area of management, identification, and transport of information. We have identified medical as one area that you cannot manage medical without technology. And identifying whom you are giving the right to use your medical for is crucial.
So biometrics?
So biometric is key, and then of course using faster technology in switching, transporting the information. This is what I've been doing the whole of this morning, and I believe we are going to change the face of Africa and beyond in how we manage medical. A lot of insurance companies make huge losses on medical simply because the fraud within medical are very, very high. Sometimes there's much more fraud than the genuine claims. So we have come up with a very advanced technology to identify and to transport the information, and we believe the future is great. And there are many areas of this nature that Africa can develop and adapt to their needs. And I'm out there trying to do it, and I hope many other young people are out there. After all, look at M-Pesa from Kenya, which came in to feel the need of transferring money in a very, very simple way and very fast. So I think all our activities in the end will be dominated by quality technology. And these technologies are coming from Africa, created by Africans, most of them, yeah.
Stay with the Africa Leadership Dialogues.
You've been in the forefront of innovation in business for decades now, Chris. We've got, though, a lot of cynics in Africa. Young business people who say, listen, maybe Chris had a deal, or maybe he knew so and so, that's how he made it. I can't make it if I don't have someone in government holding my hand or someone in business. What would you say to cynics who don't believe that you can achieve anything?
You know, even during the days of Jesus Christ, when he told people to believe, there were cynics, there were people who didn't believe. I can do very little to this kind of people, and I believe that people first must believe in themselves. Once you believe in yourself, you create confidence in yourself. Then you have to understand yourself, your capability, and what you can do, and what is the need out there that you think you can play a role. I don't think all I've done had anybody supporting me except my banks. I go to the bank, they look at me sometimes, they think I'm crazy, but you build history, you know, with your funders, and that's all.
You know, there are people who say that, you know, your relationship with your banker in business is absolutely everything. So I want to ask you this. Give us one of your lowest moments in terms of no cash, tell us a story. Tell us a little bit about the challenges.
Well, I really have so many of those, it's not possible even to enumerate. I come from very humble, very poor background. I was an orphan. I had nobody to take me to school. My parents passed off, and really, it is Good Samaritans who came to my rescue, took me to school, and of course I had to care for my young siblings.
How many siblings were under your care?
There were 3 of them, and I had to find money to pay for their school fees because I didn't feel that going to school alone on my own was good enough. I had to bring the rest of my family up, and one of my brothers is also now a professor. He teaches at a university in Kenya, USIU. And every penny he paid for going to school was generated by his older brother, and that was me, who was also in school. So the challenges are many.
So you were working while you were in school?
I was working sometimes, and also the little pocket money I used to receive, I used to use it. Instead of spending it on my own, I used to pay school fees from my funders.
Okay.
I used to spend it paying for school fees for my young brothers. So challenges. Actually, if I didn't go through these challenges, maybe I would not be who I am today. It is the challenges in life that made me who I am, because I believed that I come from poverty and I must move on. Staying in poverty was no option. And from the time I was in school itself, I worked very hard in school. I didn't waste my time. And you can't believe, Julie, I spent 3 years at Harvard studying business. And today, I'm a board member of Harvard Business School. I sit in the board that advises the president of Harvard on global strategy. I'm the only black man in that group of people who have reached that honor to advise the president. So I feel anybody can achieve anything. You can achieve your goals if you are determined.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset, and also when it is very tough, the tough get going.
The tough get going and the rest are left behind. You travel Africa quite a bit.
Yeah.
What are your observations of the social situation in many of our communities and the young people who there's a sense of entitlement from young people that we should have jobs, we should have a better life. 50 years back, when some of our countries were gaining independence, we had a young group of people who were struggling just for the right to vote. Do you think that young people of today have it easy?
I think the problem maybe is in our education. We do not prepare these young people for future life. We do not assist them to understand that the world doesn't owe them anything. And whatever they become is because of their own direct effort. And therefore, I feel mentoring young people is crucial. I have over 80,000 young people on my Twitter following me on a daily basis. And I try to mentor them, and I tell them I'm nobody special. I've reached where I am because of being determined and doing things on my own. And success doesn't come easy, and it's not a short-term affair. So we need to evaluate the trainings in schools. We need to create more discipline in schools so that young people are brought up willing to serve rather than looking for entitlement. And sooner or later, they are going to be the leaders of the nations in Africa. Africa has a very young population. And if we do not prepare these young people to be able to take on responsibilities, it's going to be tragic for Africa.
Absolutely. Let's move from young people to government and policy issues. incredible investor confidence and interest in Africa. It's the in thing. It's cool to invest in Africa. Of course, the global economic crisis has spurred this as well. But also, you know, the sense that we could face a second scramble for Africa, and that Africans could be left out of the benefits of this, renaissance, so to speak. What advice, if any, would you have for African governments right now in this dynamic environment?
I personally think governments have a challenging role. If you look at China, how China developed, China focused in building, generating wealth for their people. Of course, they had challenges as they developed, inflation kicked in, and they became somehow unpopular with their own people because of inflation. I think African leaders can do better. They need to remove politics as a daily affair and focus in building countries like a business. If they do that and educate the young people to a level where they can participate, I think everybody will take part. And I don't think the scramble is bad for African resources as long as we use those resources to develop Africa itself. We need to process the raw materials rather than just exporting coal and iron and gold and take them abroad for other people to generate jobs. We need within Africa to take portions of these raw materials and generate jobs by processing them locally. We need to build petrochemical industries. We need to refine half our petroleum that we will get in Africa, not like I understand places like Nigeria, they export the crude but import the refined fuel. So this, to me, something is amiss. And I think if we can only look at the Middle East, what they have done with their raw materials, they have built new cities, they have built chemical industries, and I think it is possible to be done. And we need maybe private sector leaders to partner with the government, political leaders. Mm-hmm. There is a role for politics, but there is more a role for business. And the only way we can benefit our people is not to feed them with the more slogans, but to feed them with opportunities, generate partnership with international communities, and let them come and invest in Africa. We need energy. We have such shortage of energy in Africa. Yet the resources for energy are abound. If you look at Congo River, if you look at the geothermal we have in East Africa, if you look at the gas we have in Mozambique and Tanzania and maybe in Kenya, we should be exporting energy rather than being short of everything and having energy cost so much that factories are not able to come and set themselves up. So we need to develop our resources. We need to generate other interactive businesses because we have the infrastructure right. Africa will have more than 1 billion people, and it's a huge market. It's a market where people have nothing. They don't have fridges, they don't have shoes, they don't have every essential thing. They need medical care, they need drugs, they need really. Therefore, Africa is where action will be in the next few years.
Chris, I want you to look into the camera and give Africans, in particular young people, because you address them particularly on social media, your words of advice.
My advice for the young Africans is that you must believe in Africa. You must prepare yourself for future role, and the best thing is acquire the best knowledge wherever you can get it. Partner with each other. Go to your banks and ask for support, and also talk to your peers who have made it. Don't look at politics, don't look for shortcuts, and there is nothing like being transparent with what you do. You got to build your credibility, you got to build your own name, and you need to be able to play your role and not look for easy way out. There are no options, there are only life for those who work very hard and prepared to take their time and work hard. And I wish you all the best of luck.
Words of advice there from Chris Kirubi. Finally, Chris, 3 words only. Describe to me your perfect Africa and where you think we can be in the years to come.
Africa is going to play the leading role in the economy. It's been the period for China and India, but the next will belong to Africa. Africa is the future, and Africa is beckoning you to come and invest in Africa.
Thank you very much, Chris. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay with the Africa Leadership Dialogues.
You are watching Africa Leadership Dialogue. I am Dr. Chris Kirubi.
Nothing comes easy, they say, and it's certainly true. Growth is a process. It's also a state of mind. Are you ready for growth and development? Time now for you to have your say.
This week we asked you, in your own view, what is the impact of absorbing new technology trends on business in Africa? Fred Kithinzi says, 2 things. First, increased efficiency in product and service delivery since humans are bound to make errors. Technology has brought about unrivaled precision and accuracy to details. Secondly, lower the operating cost, for example, cloud computing and online communication. SMEs no longer need to have big, expensive servers in their offices or keep the postman busy when there are online collaboration services. Fred Mulila says, it's opening up new markets for the African economy, and also don't forget it's giving us better and improved products.
Thank you for sharing your views. Every week we have vibrant discussions going on as a result of the Africa Leadership Dialogues, and we are thankful that you participate in these discussions. Right now, time for Africa's Top 10.
On Africa's Top 10 this week, we focus on the countries that are absorbing new technology trends when undertaking their businesses. This is according to the World Economic Forum Global Competitiveness Report 2012-2013. The ranking is out of 7 points value with 144 countries sampled. Starting us off at number 10 is Côte d'Ivoire with a 4.8 point value. It is ranked at position 77 globally. Positioned at number 9 is Kenya with a point value of 4.9. It stands at position 74 globally. Coming in at number 8 is the Gambia with a point value of 4.9. It is positioned at number 71 globally. At number 7 is Cape Verde with a point value of 5.0 out of the possible 7. The island nation is ranked at position 68 globally. Taking the number 6 slot is the island nation of Seychelles. It has a point value of 5.0 and is ranked globally at position 67. At number 5 is Namibia. It is positioned at number 61 globally with a point value of 5.2. At number 4 is Morocco. It sits at position 53 globally with a point value of 5.3. Taking the number 3 slot is Senegal with a point value of 5.3. It is positioned at number 49 globally. At number 2 is yet another island nation. Mauritius is ranked at position 48 globally with a point value of 5.3. And at number 1 is South Africa. With a point value of 5.7, it sits at position 39 globally. And that's Africa's Top 10 this week.
And we close today with a quote from Africa's first man into space. His name is Mark Shuttleworth. And Mark Shuttleworth, who is a software entrepreneur, said, "Whenever you take a large population and connect it, you start to see rising standards and the expectation of rising standards. And that is where I think Africa is today." Yes, indeed, Africa is rising. Our expectations must rise as well. And we must be convinced that against all odds, we can achieve success. I'm Julie Gichuru. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to being with you again next week on the Africa Leadership Dialogues. Blessings to you and blessings to Africa.